Hello and welcome to President's Briefing with me, Simon Cook. I'm the Managing Director of 칸라이언즈, and I have the pleasure today of being with Susan Credle, who is the Global Chief Creative Officer from FCB. Susan will be judging the very prestigious, highly coveted Titanium Lion, which was introduced back in 2003 to recognise game-changing work that paves the way forward for the entire industry. Hello, Susan. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, Simon. Thanks for asking.
It looks very sunny where you are. Where in the world are you right now?
I am in a little village called Millbrook in New York. It's about an hour and a half north of Manhattan.
Wow, okay. Well, here we go. Let's get into it.
Okay.
Susan, let's talk about your relationship with this lion, because I think it'll help us set the scene. So obviously it was invented back in 2003, some time ago now. Of course, it was the great Dan Wyden who actually helped 칸라이언즈 introduce titanium. Can you tell us a little bit about your personal story with this lion? Because you actually sat on the jury and judged it last year, didn't you?
Yes, but that was my second time. And the first time I was so fortunate because I sat on the jury when Dan Wyden was chairing it. And, you know, it was interesting because I have to say that before I got on the titanium jury with Dan, I thought the titanium jury was really about who had advanced technology in a way that was exciting and interesting. And when I sat on the jury with Dan, you know, he said the reason that we created the titanium jury wasn't about technology. It was about looking at where the industry needs to go and what the catalyst for this award was the BMW films. And yes, that was a technological, feat, and it kind of broke open what we thought of as media and where we could place content. And what happened was, this crazy thing happened, with David Lubar's and, Fallon, and there was no place to enter it. There was no place to show the BMW films according to the Cannes categories. And that's when Dan said, this industry is always going to be in a state of progression, and we're going to always need to be shown the way forward. Not just, this is a great piece of creative, but where do we need to go as an industry? And the BMW films, why we're highly creative, really at the heart of why it was awarded is it was showing where the industry needed to go, which was to break open from television and start embracing this new channel, this new place, which was the internet. And so that's what I took away from it. And it was it readjusted my thinking, or it adjusted my thinking about how to think about the titanium.
And what was it about that particular piece of work? So from BMW, produced by David Lubar's at the time, what characteristics does any piece of work need to have in order to make it titanium worthy? I think the exact definition from Dan at the time when it was produced was it's work that causes the industry to stop in its tracks and reconsider the way forward.
Exactly. And I think that is the key of stopping in your tracks and saying, what do we need to do to propel the industry forward? Sometimes that's going to be embracing new technology. Sometimes it's going to be embracing new platforms. Sometimes it's going to, who knows what it will be. I mean, I think that, potentially where we might need to go is getting our industry back into the C-suite and not just reacting to briefs, but becoming problem solvers with our clients. And that might not even look like advertising in the future, but I think it should always be looked at through the lens of what makes us relevant and important and of value to clients and to people.
So there we go, the piece of work that sparked the lion itself. We've come a long way since then, and of course we were hoping to see the Titanium Grand Prix and Lions, which emerged from this year's festival, but unfortunately we're not coming together this year. We're going to be regrouping in 2021 when Susan and her jury will be looking at not 1 but 2 years worth of work. Susan, can you tell us a little bit about the briefing that you would have given to your jury had they had the chance to meet this year? And then also, how's it going to need to evolve when you finally get together in a year's time?
Well, I think that, it's interesting because, last year I got to be on the Titanium jury with David Lubars running it. And of course, David had been on the jury with Dan Wyden. David had also been a part of why the Titanium had been created in the first place. So it was another great learning experience. And, David went back to Dan's words and said, okay, we're looking to point the industry forward. And one of the things we talked about in the jury, and if you go back and look at most of the Titanium winners of last year, is that we had a sobering conversation about that. It seemed like a lot of the creative that is awarded and recognized in our industry is what I call haute couture. And I think Jeff Goodby even said this years ago. He said the only people seeing the best creative in our industry are the people that walk up and down the Croisette 1 week a year. And what we said is that if we don't start doing our best creative work on our biggest brands and where the world sees it, not just the advertising industry, we will become irrelevant because we won't be able to prove that creativity actually is a business amplifier. And because if you're not doing it on big brands, if you're not doing it on the biggest briefs, there's no way that you'll know whether just putting something out there that's average and putting something out there that's original, creative, interesting, what's the difference? And then we won't be valued. So if you go and look at, the Titanium Award winners, what differentiated most of the work getting honored or not was it a business amplifier? Did the clients actually see how creativity helped their business short term, and will they keep doing it? We've got to stop doing our best work on side projects. And I think that's the message that we wanted to send as a jury last year. And I think, it's hard to say sitting here what we'll be looking for or what we'll recognize as propelling the industry forward 2 years from now, right? But that's what this jury should be looking for now, is what do we see that is that aha moment of like, wow, that's where we need to go. That's what we should be doing.
But it sounds like the approach you took last year was a bit of a blend, obviously staying true to the original definition that was set out obviously by Dan, which is consistent year on year, but then applying this new lens that actually relates to the business we're in. Is that something that you'll take forward to next year as well?
I do think it is important that the Titanium work have a business outcome. I just think we're still in that place. Everybody says creativity is important and it has value, but I still don't see us as a whole taking care of the creative from a financial standpoint. And so if we don't continue to prove that creativity directly affects the bottom line of business, we won't get the investment. And if we don't get the investment, we won't pull in the talent. And if we don't pull in the talent, then, it's a slippery slope to where the industry will, I think, need a lot of help. So yes, I think we have to continue to be an economic multiplier to our clients, to be valued the way we should be valued.
And let's just remind ourselves of last year's Grand Prix, which of course adhered to that criteria that you guys put in place. That was, of course, Whopper Detour. What was it about this piece of work that did those two things? Really established itself for the brand with impressive results, but then also pointed to a new direction for the industry.
I think on first blush, when people saw the Whopper case study, it's like, I do think people just were engaged with it. It was fun. We pulled off a big idea. It involved a multitude of, technology, participation, kind of a provocative idea. And I think that got it into the conversation. But where I saw sitting in the jury room, and I wasn't really allowed to talk about it, but what I saw happening is the conversation that pushed it up to the top was, it's not only fun, it's not only showing how to think creatively about how to engage people, let them be a part of the idea, which feels pretty modern. We talk about it a lot at FCB about if we can do something provocative and create participation, that is a modern piece of advertising. But what pushed it up was when you started looking at the business results. And it was like Burger King was way behind with their downloads of their app. And the app today in quick service restaurants is like drive-through in the 70s. If you didn't have drive-through, you were going to fall way behind your competitors. And it's the same with the app. The behavior overnight changed from people standing in line to ordering on an app. And so, Burger King, our client, really needed that app downloaded, and the creativity amplified how quickly people downloaded the app. And that was the business. That was where it made a difference in the business, not just in the brand.
Okay, let's take a look at the iconic Whopper Detour. So there we go. That was last year's Grand Prix. We look forward to seeing what the Grand Prix will be, not this year, unfortunately, but in 2021. So Susan, you and the jury are going to be judging not 1, but 2 years worth of work. And if that wasn't a task enough, you're also going to be looking at work that has been through the lens of obviously COVID, everything that's happening around the world relating to Black Lives Matter and racial inequality, and possibly even a global recession. Can you tell us a little bit about how you're going to get through that work and how you're going to assess it, given everything that's happened?
Well, it's interesting. I heard, when COVID-19 started to become a global pandemic, every brand, every creative, was like, what do we say? What do we do? And I actually heard someone say, are we going to create a COVID category, to look at this work? Or are we going to not allow any COVID work to be entered into, shows to be discussed? And, I think it's a wait and see, but I do think that one of the things that might be interesting for a jury in the next 2 years is to see, to honor which brands, pieces of creative really mattered and helped and made a difference versus what just became a chorus of messaging that started to blend in and look alike. That's going to be interesting. And I could see that how do brands and agencies and products show up under these kind of stressful situations? That would be a very interesting discussion, I think, for a jury like that, because that would show the industry the way forward, right? And I think we'll also see that brands that have done the hard work of defining themselves over time might show up more authentically, more importantly, and know what to do during these kinds of moments in our lives. So I think that there could be a lot of rich discussion about that. But, it's 2 years from now, and I don't know, what we'll see, happening in our industry, but I think we'll still use the lens of, when we honor this work, how does it help us day to day in our jobs, progress? And
of course, titanium is one that people are always waiting for, because it is such a bellwether and it does give an indication of where we're going. It's hotly anticipated. It's also at the end of the week when we do get together in Cannes at the festival. So it's the one that people are looking out for. It's the one people are talking about way after the festival itself. Based on that, when the lights go down at that final award show on the Friday night and people are waiting to see the body of work that you guys have curated, what titanium stands for in 2021, representing 2 years, what kind of statement do you want that body of work to make to our industry?
I think I want you to leave that show feeling proud of our industry, feeling and understanding that we matter, that we have a lot of power, and that we can progress things. We can take advantage of situations and push our worlds forward. So I really do think this is an interesting time. And, we keep saying that, a lot of times we show up and we sell some stuff, but we actually have the voice and the power and the presence to make a difference or to be of help. And I think that's my gut right now, is that we will probably be honoring work that helped not only keep the economy going, but kept us all going.
And just finally then, Susan, this session is all about the briefing that you would have given had we had the chance to come together. You're not going to be able to do that for an entire year. So just for our audience and indeed for people around the world who are thinking of entering the titanium lion, what is your briefing to the industry in just a few words?
Well, my first suggestion would be to go back and look at what was honored over the years. And I don't think that titanium is different every year, but I think it's cumulative. So if you start off with where we started, which is, Dan Wyden saying BMW was an important piece of work that was going to show our industry a way forward and where the future is. And last year, the way forward was, please do your best work on your biggest brands and make a difference when it comes to business. I think this will be a time where a lot of brands have been saying, what am I supposed to do in these new normal times? And I think that we will probably lift up the work that answers that.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much for making the time to do this. It's a shame that we won't be able to see each other in a few weeks' time, but look forward to seeing you next year and in the room where you'll be delivering your jury briefing in real time to your jury.
Thanks, Simon. Take care.
And we'll be talking to other presidents who will be giving their own personal take on their president briefing throughout the rest of this week as part of Lions Live. Be sure to tune in for them. Thank you very much.